I get asked all the time, all right, you're a physician, what do you do? Guys, I specialize in quantum biology and epigenetics. That's what I do, all right? So you take Einstein's stuff of quantum physics, E equals mc squared. Take the physics aspect of it and dump it into biology. See how it works in a biological thing. That's really what I'm doing when I deal with patients. So this question says, hey doc, I keep hearing epigenetics is more important than genetics. Why and how does this impact my health? It's a good question. All right, so what's the difference? Epi means above. Above the what? Gene, in this case, the genetics. It's above the gene. So your DNA that makes you who you are. It's a library book, and you open your little book up and you say, oh, here's how I build a heart. Here's how I build pink eyes. Here's how I build a tumor. That's in your DNA, but it's a book. It means absolutely nothing after you're born unless it's already expressed. So genetic flaws will come out immediately. Genetic expression has to be coaxed out. It's got to be encouraged. It's like dating, Paulie. You got to date. You got to be nice to it. You got to do all these good things and hope they like you, right? It's not just like, hey, here we go.
Exactly.
Okay? So the idea of this thing is that if you end up dating your genetic flaws or your expressions, then here they come. Now you get all these weird things. So when people say, oh, it's a genetic this and genetic, MTHFR is my favorite one. My God, there's a darling they love to do. But the reality of it is, if you don't feed the bear, it doesn't do anything. It's just a book on a shelf. If I open the book up and let it sit there, it still does nothing. It would be the equivalent of driving by an empty lot with a how to build a house and throwing the book out there and coming back in 6 months going, where's my house? It doesn't do anything. It has to get a signal from the environment to encourage that to start. That's what epigenetics is. What's the signal you're getting from the environment that's making your body open the book and start reading? That's what you're looking for here. So when I say that we work on epigenetics, like the IUP that I run, that urine test, it's an epigenetic profile. It's literally telling you, how is your body trying to adapt to the world you're forcing it to live in? What systems are being pushed? How are they being pushed? Where can you intervene to try and change how they're being pushed? So that's really what you're looking at. So epigenetics would be the equivalent of, a Down syndrome child. That's a genetic flaw. Something went wrong in the blueprint for one reason or another. It went wrong and here we are. But epigenetics would be like, hey, I'm normal throughout life. I have no problems. I can eat cookies and I can eat onions. And all of a sudden when I'm 30 and, onions now bother me. And they're like, oh, you're allergic to onions. No, you're not. It doesn't work like that. Your allergies are kind of there right away. You don't tend to acquire them. You acquire sensitivities to things. And then they can get worse. Now it's not onions. Now it's onions and cabbage and onions and broccoli and onions and peppers. It starts to build. Those can all be altered, changed, or tweaked quite easily. True allergens are a little tougher to deal with. So that's kind of what you're looking at here. So you want to know that it's like, all right, so psoriasis, eczema, dermatitis, lupus, Crohn's, colitis, celiacs, what else do we have in there? Those are all more of an epigenetic thing most of the time. That's where they tend to come from. So you want to intervene and say, okay, well, where my environment, what's sending the signal? Well, there's only one thing that does. It's stress. And what's the cause of all stress, Paulie?
Oh,
yes, sir. What's
men.
that? There you go.
Yeah.
It's either a mechanical trauma, it's an energetic, emotional thing, or it's a chemical, nutritional poisoning that either interferes with the signal or encourages it. That's it. Right? Genetics 101 right there. That's it. That's all it takes. Figure out the cause of the stress, remove the cause of the stress, you get rid of the signal. Get rid of the signal, the body goes, oh, okay, I can repair again. And that's literally how it does it. So that's a pretty good call.